SEC removes major fundraising roadblock for Ripple. So SEC just waived that, and listen, XRP holders, this is massive. Ripple can now raise unlimited private capital from accredited investors, without obviously any sort of roadblock coming in the way. More funding equals faster growth, stronger XRP adoption. And this is bigger than you know it. I'm gonna kind of go a little bit more, deeper into what this really means, and how you want to be paying very close attention to this if you're an XRP holder. Looking across the board though, as we did start off a brand new week, we're seeing a little bit of a pullback for the broader market. Bitcoin did see a little bit of a minor pullback since last night, which caused the dominance to actually spike up above 61% not too long ago, which of course is going to have an impact on the broader market, and we're actually seeing that right now. XRP, to be specific, is down right now about 1.5% in USD, as well as about 1.1% in Bitcoin comparative. Price at $3.13, valuation at $185.5 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at about 8.3 billion. But before we get into any further, for you guys, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So we talked about that lawsuit coming to an end, but guess what? Paul Atkins himself and Hector Pierce has come out and confirmed this lawsuit is officially over. So look what Paul Atkins, the chair of the SEC, has come out and said this. Commissioner Pierce is right. With this chapter closed, we now have an opportunity to shift our energy from the courtroom to the policy drafting table. Our focus should be on building a clear regulatory framework that fosters innovation while protecting investors. Hashtag Project Crypto. And on top of that, like I said, SEC removes major fundraising roadblock. What does this hint? This means, pretty much if Ripple now does decide to do an IPO, they can actually start doing so. And believe it or not, people think that, there's no IPO for Ripple ever going to happen. Brad Gerlinghouse himself has said in the past that once this lawsuit is over, they are going to do an IPO. It might not happen this year because, of course, as I've stated on my channel before, they're going to think strategically how to maximize the hype, of course, and do this 100% properly and not just rush into it. Speaking about this, do you think there's not going to be a lot of companies knowing what Ripple is doing, and how it has that real world use case and a lot of credibility over the course of the last decade plus? Do you think there's not going to be a lot of big accredited investors that want to come and go ahead and purchase Ripple shares beforehand? Speaking about that, take a look at this here for you guys. VivoPower to procure underlying 211 million XRP position worth 700 million through budgeted initial 100 million acquisition of Ripple shares. So the pretty much want to go and buy 100 million worth of Ripple shares. Of course, this is not confirmed, set in stone. This is coming from VivoPower that they want to do that. Obviously, it has to be confirmed by Ripple themselves. But let's kind of dig a little bit deeper into what's really going on. So look at this. Kevin Chin, executive chairman and CEO of VivoPower, commented the opportunity to acquire Ripple shares and materially average down the acquisition price per XRP is in line with our objective of building a sustainable long-term treasury model that translates into sustainable potential upside for shareholders. Our portfolio construction strategy is to buy a combination of XRP shares and XRP tokens. This will allow us to optimize for yield maximization while also minimizing the weighted average cost of XRP, acquired. Adam Traden, former Ripple board member and chairman of VivoPower, says by purchasing Ripple shares, not only will VivoPower acquire XRP at valuations up to an 86% discount versus buying XRP outright on the market, we will also gain a stake in Ripple RLUSD stablecoin and other business units, including Hidden Road, Rail, and Metico. So rationale for purchase of Ripple Lab shares. So Ripple is the largest holder of XRP tokens with 41 billion valued at 135 billion at the current XRP price. Vivo has the opportunity to acquire Ripple at a weighted average valuation of approximately 19 billion, representing 86% discount to Ripple's 135 billion holding of XRP token, assuming no value is ascribed to the rest of Ripple's business unit, including RLUSD and stablecoins. And I'm going to obviously explain this. I know if you guys are kind of getting overwhelmed, just settle down and we're going to kind of take a look at this. So look at this. This infers that, VivoPower will be buying XRP tokens at an implied price of 47 cents per XRP at a current market price, which are subjected to significantly volatility and assuming no value ascribed to the rest of the Ripple's business unit, including RLUSD stablecoin. So pretty much what this means is, now I know a lot of people are probably wondering if VivoPower does decide to go ahead and buy 100 million worth of shares for Ripple, how does this mean that they're getting XRP at 47 cents per token? Remember, the huge chunk of XRP that Ripple actually holds, if obviously a company comes and buys out a specific amount of shares, they do have some sort of an ownership with that Ripple, with that XRP that Ripple owns. Which is, of course, where this comes into play. And, this, of course, makes sense, because 100 million, that would obviously be discounted in terms of the mathematics standpoint. I know it's kind of confusing, but they're pretty much saying that, if they put in 100 million, they're not only just getting Ripple shares, but they're maximizing, with obviously exposure to Hidden Road, and obviously all that stuff that they have acquired recently, which of course is giving them a lot of exposure. So they're trying to think strategically, but of course, with that being said, that doesn't mean that if this is confirmed, set in stone, and Ripple's going to agree with it, because of course this is, I think, too good to be true. But what I want you guys to understand from this is, look at the bigger picture here. Are we paying attention to the bigger picture here now or no? Look at this. These companies understand what Ripple is doing, and I do personally believe that they're going to be strategically, in terms of Ripple, they're going to be strategically deciding when to do an IPO. And by far, in terms of crypto itself, I think Ripple IPO is going to be the biggest in the history of crypto, based off of what we have seen in the past, the hype factors that the XRP token itself has. And what they're building, the insane amount of institutional interest that they have. Those are the things that you don't want to be forgetting. But very, very interesting. Do let me know in the comments down below what your personal thoughts are on this. But look at this. July 2025, Central Bank of Malaysia reports claims XRP may replace bank deposits as the Bitcoin and Ethereum deemed unstable for payment systems. Private tokens such as XRP may be widely used as means of payments outside the banking system in the future, replacing CIC or bank deposits. Very, very interesting stuff. But take a look at this. President Trump has signed an executive order extending the China tariff deadline by 90 more days, which is equivalent to about 3 months, give or take. Bullish, of course. Remember, we need to look for these resolutions regarding the tariffs. And I personally think the market has kind of already came across the tariff situation, because based off of what we're seeing, market doesn't really have a big reaction. Does tend to react, but doesn't have a crazy reaction to the tariffs, because of course there is agreements being made across the countries. But take a look at this. The odds of the Federal Reserve cutting rate next month have risen to 81.6% on Polymarket. Do let me know in the comments what your personal thoughts are. But take a look at the dominance. We did break out to 61%. You could see this for yourself just over the last few hours. We did go back down, but you want to see the dominance, pulling below the 60.4%. Very, very important. That was our July lows, but right now we are obviously, picking up. And again, shouldn't really be a surprise, because if you're looking at BTC, look at this for yourself. Bitcoin was sitting at 122,400. We spoke about that last night. As we started off the week, we did see Bitcoin push back towards the downside. Obviously, a lot of longs got liquidated. Again, this is a continuous reminder why you want to stay away from leverage trading platforms. But you can see, quite a sharp pullback for BTC, which explains why, we're seeing the dominance going up and a little bit of a retracement for altcoins. If you're looking at XRP to be specific, we're sitting at $3.13 right now. Again, not a major surprise. In the last, obviously, 24 hours, we have seen a decrease of about 6.2%. But again, into consideration of BTC and what's happening with the dominance, this shouldn't be a big surprise. But so far, so good. We're still obviously reacting, to the broader market. Still, holding really, really nicely. We do have extensive amount of support still around the $3 price point. So far, so good. Bitcoin still holding not bad, as you guys might think. Even if we close our daily candle around here, I think that would be a good sign. But I'll keep you guys covered, of course. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about the entire thing that we have just spoken about. I personally believe XRP will break out and retest our yearly highs that we just set for ourselves last month. But we're going to take it one step at a time. Let me know in the comments what you think. We'll see you later in Crypto ZX and peace.